All right, let's get right into it. On October 2nd, 2025, the FAA dropped a big one, a new airworthiness directive, AD 2025-19-12. This is a critical update, and it's all about the main landing gear on a whole lot of Boeing 737s. So if you're an operator, you're going to want to pay close attention. Let's break down exactly what this means for you. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with the mandate itself, then get into the nitty-gritty of the unsafe condition that triggered it. We'll cover which 737s are affected, the specific technical actions you need to take, and of course the big one, the operational and financial hit. And we'll wrap up with what it really takes to stay compliant. All right, first up, the mandate itself, AD 2025-19-12. Let's be clear, this isn't just a friendly suggestion from the FAA, it's a mandatory action, and the clock is already ticking. And here's that date you need to circle in red. November 6, 2025. That is the effective date. From that day on, the compliance process is officially underway. So there's really no time to waste. So, what's the big deal? Why did the FAA feel the need to issue this directive? Well, this next part dives right into the core safety risk that got everyone's attention. You know, it all boils down to this, a report about improper grinding. We're talking about the inner diameter of the main landing gear outer cylinders. A seemingly small maintenance mistake, right? But it created the potential for some serious heat damage on an absolutely critical part of the aircraft. And I think this is fascinating. Look at the exact words the FAA uses here to define the unsafe condition. They're saying it could cause the failure of a principal structural element to sustain its limit load. That's not just jargon. It means a fundamental piece of the airplane might not be able to do its job under the stress it was designed for. That's a huge red flag in the world of airworthiness. And if that principal structural element fails, well, the consequences are exactly as serious as you'd imagine. We're talking about the potential for the entire main landing gear to just collapse. From there, you could lose control of the plane or even end up departing the runway. The stakes here are incredibly high. Okay, so you're probably wondering, does this apply to my fleet? Let's get really specific about which aircraft are covered by this AD. No room for guesswork here. And the answer is, it's a wide net. This directive applies to the entire Boeing 737 next generation family. So that's your 600s, 700s, 700Cs, 800s, 900s, and the 900ERs. Basically, if you operate any of these 737NGs, listen up, because this AD is for you. All right, let's switch gears and look at this from the perspective of the folks on the ground, the camo, maintenance, and engineering teams. What do you actually have to do? The compliance procedure is laid out in 4 pretty straightforward steps. First, you've got to hit the books and do a thorough maintenance records check. If your records are hazy or incomplete, then you've got to move on to step 2, a physical inspection. The whole point is to find out if you have any of the affected part and serial numbers installed. And if you do, step 4 is simple. That cylinder has to be replaced. Period. And you know, the FAA leaves zero room for interpretation on how you do this work. This is a direct quote from the AD, and it says you have to do all applicable actions identified in and in accordance with the accomplishment instructions of Boeing Alert Requirements Bulletin 737-32A1585RB. In other words, follow the Boeing bulletin to the letter. No shortcuts, no improvising. Okay, so that covers the technical side. But what about the impact on operations? And let's be honest, the budget. This next part is the high-level summary for the management and commercial folks in the room. To get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number. The FAA estimates that in the US alone, this AD affects 1,833 airplanes. That is a massive slice of the domestic 737 fleet. Now, the good news, if you can call it that, is that the initial cost isn't too bad. For the records check or the inspection, the FAA figures it's about 2 work hours per plane, which comes out to roughly $170. Okay, manageable. But, and this is a huge but, if that check turns up an affected part, the costs just explode. The on-condition cost for replacing a single main landing gear outer cylinder is estimated to be over $270,000. That is a completely different ballgame. And this table really lays it all out in black and white. You can see that $170 for the records check, that's a minor operational cost. But look at the replacement. The labor is over $5,000. And then bam, The part itself is $250,000. That's the number that's going to make the finance department sit up and take notice. Okay, let's wrap this up. What are the absolute critical points you need to walk away with to make sure your operation stays in full compliance with this AD? Here are your 5 key takeaways. Simple as that. Effective date, November 6th, 2025. It hits all Boeing 737 NG series planes. You must do a records check or inspection, and maybe a replacement. All the work has to follow that specific Boeing bulletin. And why are we doing all this? To prevent the catastrophic risk of a landing gear collapse. Look, the bottom line is this. Compliance is not a choice. Every single operator of these aircraft is legally mandated to get this done by the deadlines. There are no two ways about it. And that really leaves us with one final crucial question for you and your team. Tackling an AD like this isn't just a maintenance task. It's a massive coordination effort. So, is your organization really prepared to get camo, maintenance, and your commercial teams all on the same page for a smooth and timely execution?